Disaster. No warning, no second chance. One wrong decision, and you're out of the game. Welcome to the channel. Alright, first clip of the video, and yeah, guess the country. Every crane has the load limit written right on it. Looks like these guys don't know how to read the manual. Alright, here we are at the sharpest and steepest turn in the whole pit. Every time it rains, this spot turns into a real mess. The only place wide enough for the grader to pull over and let trucks pass is right here, smack in the middle of the turn. And that just makes it harder for the drivers, especially the loaded ones, because they can't swing wide enough going uphill. Empty trucks going down? No problem. But the real chaos starts when they're headed up with a full load. Let's check it out. I let him give it a try so we wouldn't cause a traffic jam. But turns out, the grader did need to blade that slope after all. So I did 2 quick passes, just enough to clear it up a bit. I pushed the mud toward the center of the road so I wouldn't narrow the sides too much, because if the road gets too tight, the trucks start dragging mud back onto it with their wheels. Let's see if he makes it up. Second try, and he almost made it. But take a look. Here's exactly where the problem is. On the left side of the road, there's this dip about 10 feet long. The grader can't fix it quickly. When trucks drop into it, it throws the rear end to the left, straight into the mud. Time was running out, traffic was backing up fast down below, and we needed a quick solution. Alright, third try. I cleared the mud as much as I can from that slope that keeps pulling them sideways. But at that point, there was nothing more I could do with the grader. The best solution would have been to dump some material and fill that section in, but we didn't have that option at the moment, so everyone was counting on the grader to get it done. Let's see if he makes it out this time. And yeah, one of the big problems was that I had nowhere to pull over with the grader, so I had to stay right there in the curve, which made it harder for the drivers because they couldn't take a wide enough angle when turning. But looks like he's gonna make it. In the end, we got the job done. We're back in Russia again. The Dozer has an issue with the final drive, which is the main mechanism in the machine responsible for transferring power from the transmission to the tracks, giving it the ability to move. With the final drive out, the Dozer isn't able to climb up onto the lowboy on its own. So this Ural track is stepping in to help. We're seeing some great teamwork here, but what I don't understand is why they're not pushing it in reverse, blade to blade. Pushing it this way risks damaging the push arms and the tilt cylinder. Hey, pay attention to the rig, will you? This whole project wouldn't be possible without this lovely lady who's here to, well, she's here. Anyway, it takes the entire intersection just to move this thing. The equipment itself measures about 227 feet long, weighs 532,000 pounds, and is 18 feet wide. And the guy in the Kenworth is doing a great job, taking it slow and steady. But the key player here is the guy in the back. He's the brain of the whole operation, the captain of this heavy haul convoy. He's the one guiding the rear of the trailer through intersections, tight turns, bridges, you name it. All right, the transformer has made it to the location, but now let's see how they're going to back it into position. Is it the same process as moving forward? Obviously, reversing a trailer of this size is a whole different challenge, but let's find out how they pull it off. Now the situation is the opposite. The key role is in the hands of the driver in the Kenworth. He's the one running the whole operation now, guiding this massive rig in reverse and making sure everything lines up perfectly. Hey, but wait, where did that girl disappear? Okay, moving on from expensive high-tech equipment to an old rusty Soviet-era machine. In the middle of winter, these aging beasts are still critical for local communities in remote parts of Russia. They may look old and worn out, but they still get the job done. So let's see if this tractor can handle the deep snow and freezing weather. Weighing in at 6.5 tons and pushing 90 horsepower, this DT75M is clearly struggling with the frozen haystack. The haystack itself isn't all that heavy. The real issue is that it's frozen solid to the ground, making it much harder for the tractor to pull it free. And of course it's going to pull it out. After all, it's just a frozen straw stockpile. But what really gets me is how this whole scene looks. It's like watching a woolly mammoth from behind, covered in snow, dragging its back legs across the ground. All right, safety procedures have to be followed. No running the excavator until the bulldozer takes down that massive boulder. When it comes to jobs like this, there always has to be someone on the ground guiding the dozer, showing exactly how far it's safe to go. There's always a risk the operator can't see what's happening beneath the blade, and if the material gives way, the dozer could go down with it. The dozer's job is done. Now it's the excavator's turn. But before it even gets to work, something's about to happen down there. This is like pointing a powerful telescope into deep space. And then suddenly, in one corner, you catch a big boom, a supernova going off. Pretty incredible sight. Now back to work. And only now can you really see just how massive that boulder is, and why it had to be pushed down from the bench by the bulldozer. That 108,000-pound boulder falling on the excavator? The damage would have been catastrophic. But hey, if you want to watch the full video about this amazing Liebherr R9300 excavator, you can click the link down below or in the top right corner of the screen. Back in Russia again. And yep, Another crane accident. An unassessed load, an unstable crane setup, and disaster was inevitable. Luckily, no one was injured. The crane operator bailed out of the cab just in time. Terex with an engine issue. Yeah, it happens all the time. ALE, or Abnormal Load Engineering, now part of the Dutch company Mammoet, is moving a massive Siemens electrical transformer through the streets of North London. But that railway bridge clearance looks pretty tight. Let's see if the whole rig can somehow squeeze underneath. He made it through, and I think we're talking fractions of an inch here. Cleared it just close enough to scare the pigeons off the bridge. But this whole setup is just enormously large. And these Troyan trucks are true workhorses. I just can't believe what he just did. Can you imagine? The dude accidentally hit the left joystick with his left thigh, and the excavator started swinging to the right, throwing the whole machine off balance, and boom! His confidence went from 100 to 0 in a split second. Luckily, the machine didn't fall off the trailer onto the cab. It tipped over onto its right side and leaned against the concrete wall. From what we can see, there's no damage. The hoses and boom cylinder are intact. Even the handrails aren't bent. And of course, the cab remained untouched. All things considered, he got off easy. Surprisingly, same operator, same situation. Let's see if he can pull it off this time and make up for the mess he made earlier. Looks like he made it, but he got really lucky. The excavator came out of it completely untouched. And just like that, the confidence skyrockets again. Guess the country, wrong answer only. Wait a sec. Guess the country, wrong answer only.
Я понял. Кран?
And that was smooth as hell. Great job, buddy. A few days ago, I uploaded a video about the flooding of our mine. I talked about how it rained non-stop for 4 days and how the river swelled up. With that much incoming water, the collectors just couldn't handle it. And collector number 1 completely failed. And of course, the water immediately started flowing back, upstream, toward the village, threatening to flood the entire area. That's when the company's management made a tough, but absolutely right decision. To redirect all the water, literally the entire river, straight into the pit. What followed were some truly epic scenes, like something out of a movie. Anyway, you can watch the full video at the link down below, or by clicking the one in the top right corner of the screen. And as a result of that disaster, this beautiful 35-meter deep artificial lake was formed at the bottom of the pit. And if you thought things couldn't get any worse, take a look at the next clip. It also happened in Serbia 11 years before this disaster. And we're talking Noah's flood scale here. I believe this might be the biggest mine disaster in the world. May 15th, 2014, the Kolubara River. Serbia was hit by the heaviest rainfall in the last 120 years, triggering catastrophic floods across the country. In just 3 days, as much rain fell as normally would in an entire 3-month period. One of the hardest hit areas was the Kolubara River Valley, home to the Tamnava Westfield coal mine, part of EPS's open pit mining operations. EPS, the electric power company of Serbia, is the country's national power utility and the largest producer of electricity in Serbia. Here we see the very beginning of the disaster, water breaching the edge of the mine. In just 24 hours, this very spot where they're standing now, including the bulldozer, will be completely underwater. You can hear one of the workers shouting, "Pull the men and the machine back! There's nothing more we can do!" And just 2 days later, an epic disaster. One of the worst Serbia has seen in recent history. Around 200 million cubic meters of water, that's over 52 billion gallons, rushed into the pit, flooding 10 massive bucket wheel excavators, mobile cranes, bulldozers, conveyor belts, and tons of other supporting equipment that was in the mine. The disaster created the second largest artificial lake in Serbia, covering an area of 22 square kilometers, about 8.5 square miles with a diameter of roughly 7 kilometers, around 4.3 miles, and a depth of up to 60 meters, around 197 feet. That's roughly the volume of 80,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools, twice as deep as the lake formed in the Bor copper mine disaster you saw in the previous clip. The Tamnava Westfield mine had been the largest coal supplier in Serbia, providing fuel for more than 50% of the country's thermal power plants. The flooding and subsequent shutdown of the mine severely threatened Serbia's energy stability. The country's 2 largest thermal power plants, Nikola Tesla 1 and Nikola Tesla 2, both heavily dependent on coal from Tamnava, were forced to operate at reduced capacity. At one point, the entire nation was on the brink of power restrictions. That was simply not an option. So the recovery process began immediately. Efforts were launched to pump the water out of the pit and back into the Kolubara River as quickly as possible. EPS, the electric power company of Serbia, launched the largest water pumping operation in the history of Serbian mining. Several companies were brought in alongside Serbian mining firms and the army. All available workers were involved in the recovery process. Massive high-capacity pumps were brought in, capable of removing about 2.5 million cubic meters of water per day. At that pace, the plan was to complete the pumping within 7 months by early 2015. Once the water was finally removed, it would take several more months to restore the machinery and infrastructure that had been submerged for so long, now rusted and corroded beyond recognition. Before the flood, the Tamnava Westfield mine was producing around 30,000 tons of coal per day, supplying over 50% of Serbia's thermal power plants, including the 2 largest, Nikola Tesla A and B. After the flood, production came to a complete halt, and recovery was slow. Even after the water was pumped out, it took months to restore equipment and infrastructure. The full recovery of the mine took more than a year, and damages were estimated at over 100 million euros. And like I said, the shutdown triggered a chain reaction of problems in Serbia's energy sector, including the threat of electricity shortages and serious pressure on the national power grid. Tamnava remains a key component of Serbia's energy supply, as coal from the Kolubara Basin accounts for about 70% of the country's electricity production. This 2014 flood in Tamnava mine is often considered the largest mining disaster in Serbia's modern history, and one of the most severe natural technical disasters in European mining.